Susan never planned to spend her 50th birthday at a herbal tea workshop, but here she was, clutching a chipped Bondi Rescue mug while a woman in a beetroot-dyed caftan praised dandelion roots like they'd solved menopause single-handedly. Sydney summer heat clung to her neck, mocking memories of beach BBQs where she'd once lit grills, not existential crises. Yet between sniffing mystery blends and side-eyeing a jar labeled mood stabilizer, something uncurled in her chest, not hope, not yet, but Creator never planned to spend her 50th birthday sweating through her blouse a beach barbecue while her nephew's mates joked about old people naps. Sydney's summer sun had nothing on furnace inside her, flashes coming like rogue waves, unpredictable and humiliating. That chipped blue mug from her backpacking days sat unused in cupboard, gathering dust alongside her confidence. Then came herbal tea workshop flyer, neon pink as a midlife crisis. Creator hesitated outside community center, ankles wobbling in sandals she'd worn since her 30s. Inside, steam curled from pots of dandelion root, smelling like earth after rain. Instructor called it liquid courage for your hormones, which got a snort from Susan. Still, she lifted mug to her lips, first sip bitter, second sip, not so bad. By week 3, her night sweats faded to a dull grumble. She noticed things again, salt crusting her skin after ocean swims, where her neighbor's tabby cat always missed its jump onto fence. That damned mug became her anchor, its cracks reminding her of time she'd patched a leaky kayak in Thailand with duct tape and sheer stubbornness. Menopause wasn't a cliff edge, just another tide to ride. Susan started hosting sunrise tea sessions on her balcony, laughing when her hands shook pouring hot water. Let kettle whistle like a rebellious teen. She'd handle this phase way she'd handled karaoke 51, off-key but lit. Woman never planned to spend her 50th birthday alone, staring a wilting supermarket cake, while Sydney's summer humidity turned her hot flashes into a personal sauna session. But life had a way of throwing curveballs, like menopause, which arrived uninvited, crashing her party with mood swings and sleepless nights. One evening, after tossing her third pillow across room, she grabbed keys and stormed out, barefoot, toward Bondi Beach. Sand between toes usually soothed her, but tonight even crashing waves sounded like white noise. A flickering neon sign caught her eye, herbal remedies and tea blends. Inside, shelves groaned under jars of dried petals and roots, smelling like earth after rain. Behind counter stood Margot, a woman with silver braids and a grin that said she'd seen it all. Dandelion roots lit for cooling fire within, Margot offered, sliding a steaming mug toward woman without being asked. First sip was bitter, but warmth spread through her chest, loosening knots she hadn't noticed. Margot ran weekend workshops, menopause mixology, she called them, where women crushed rose hips between mortar and pestle, laughing over beach barbecue disasters, and swapping stories about rogue chin hairs. Susan signed up, though her first attempt brewing left her kitchen looking like a crime scene. Progress wasn't pretty, spilled hibiscus stained countertops, and she once mistook cayenne for cinnamon, resulting in a tea that could have doubled as pepper spray. But each mishap felt lighter, funnier. That chipped blue mug became her anchor. Mornings began with golden dandelion tea, its sunny hue a reminder that resilience could be steeped, slow and steady. She started hosting her own gatherings, blending teas for neighbors who arrived clutching fans and complaints. Together, they rewrote script. Menopause wasn't an ending, but a simmering, potent brew of reinvention. By summer's end, Susan's balcony overflowed with pots of homegrown dandelions, their stubborn roots pushing through cracks in concrete. Just like her. Woman never planned to spend her 50th birthday hunched over a bathroom sink, splashing cold water on her neck while her sister's backyard barbecue laughter rattled through thin walls. Sydney summer heat clung like a cheap dress, and hot flashes had become her uninvited plus one. She tried every remedy, pills, potions, yoga poses that made her knees sound like popcorn, but nothing stuck. Then, between sips of oversteeped chamomile, a community center workshop, hosted by a woman whose aura was suspiciously too zen, she heard it, dandelion tea. Nature's little AC unit. Skepticism prickled. Wasn't that just backyard weeds? But desperation had a way of making even stubborn women curious. She bought a bag of dried roots from a grocer who winked, "Work's a treat for my missus," as if menopause was some Aussie inside joke. That first mugful tasted like dirt had committed a crime, but by week 2, something shifted. Nights weren't sweat-soaked marathons. Mornings carried fewer rogue mood swings. Even her reflection seemed less like a stranger and more like, just softer edges. She started brewing it daily, ritual grounding her more than any meditation app ever had. That chipped blue mug, same one she'd once hurled across kitchen mid-flash, became her battle standard. Each sip was a middle finger to idea that 50 meant fading quietly. She hosted her own beach barbecue, serving dandelion iced tea alongside snags, grinning as her girlfriends scoffed before sheepishly asking for seconds. One evening, watching sunset bleed into Bondi waves, Susan realized tea wasn't magic. It was a choice. A stubborn little act of rebellion against lie that women crumble when their bodies change. She lifted her mug to horizon, to herself, to every woman who'd ever been told hot flashes were end of story. Not bloody likely. She never planned to spend her 50th birthday sweating through another Sydney summer, fanning herself with a mortgage statement while her hormones staged a mutiny. But there she stood, 50 and fierce, gripping a chipped yellow mug like it held answers, because it did. Inside swirled dandelion tea, golden as sunrise, bitter as truth. She'd scoffed first, tea for hot flashes. Until that first sip unknotted her spine like a beach breeze. Now, mug in hand, she faced a packed community hall, skeptics in front row already smirking. This wasn't just tea. It was rebellion. Months ago, she'd stumbled into a herbal workshop run by a silver-haired firecracker who'd winked, "Menopause ain't a surrender, love. It's a damn upgrade." She had rolled her eyes, until dandelion roots steadied her heartbeat, until her night sweats faded like a bad perm. Tonight, her bold move. A live demo beside a Menopause Myths exhibit, her mug front and center. "Watch this," she muttered, pouring steaming liquid into sample cups. A snicker came from Brenda, her yoga-toned nemesis, who'd once called herbal remedies granola nonsense. Susan raised her mug high. "Bottoms up, ladies." Then, chaos. A local influencer snapped her mid-sip, face lit with relief. Shot went viral by dessert, dandelion defiance trending next to beach barbecue memes. Brenda, arms crossed, grudgingly took a cup, then blinked. "Bloody hell," crowd roared as she chugged it, gasping, "Where's mine?" Laughter bubbled up Susan's throat. 50, flushed, and finally belonging, not despite changes, but because of them. Her mug clinked against others, a symphony of second acts. Menopause hadn't dimmed her spark. It just needed right brew to burn brighter. Susan never planned to spend her 50th birthday chugging ice water between hot flashes, but Sydney's summer had other ideas. Beach BBQs left her sweating like a dropped pavlova, and her mood swung harder than a screen door in a cyclone. Then she stumbled into a herbal tea workshop, lit by fairy lights and run by a woman with lavender streaks who called dandelion roots menopause ninjas. Skeptical but desperate, Susan stole home with a mug of golden brew, half expecting placebo vibes. 2 weeks later, her night sweats ghosted her like a bad Tinder date. Energy up, crankiness down. That chipped mug, once just a thrift store afterthought, became her sidekick, its cracks now holding stories instead of stains. Soon, she was hosting backyard tea circles, guiding flustered women through steeping rituals with focus of a surf instructor teaching grommets to ride waves. Laughter tangled with steam as they traded hot flash hacks and midlife dreams, their mugs clinking like champagne flutes. By 53, Susan's kitchen had morphed into a menopause speakeasy. Even blokes snuck in for immunity shots, her sly rebrand of dandelion-laced smoothies. She'd turned a personal fix into a movement, proving creativity could stitch community tighter than a sarong bondi. Your turn. Steep that root